Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in. So JJ, recently I was with a very good couple friend of ours for a long weekend. And the male in the couple is bipolar. And he is just one of my best friends. He's so good about being able to talk about what that disease, or I don't know if it's a disease or illness or what it's called.
How long has he known he's been bipolar?
Oh,
you know
since he was a kid.
Like, this is just like, he just knows that he is bipolar, and this is a thing he lives with his whole life.
Correct. And he's medicated, and he has spent his whole life really managing that, and some times of his life with better success than others. And, just a cocktail of medications to try to keep him in a place that he can be functioning and centered. And he's just one of the best people I know. He really is just one of the most loving people, and willing to take his own inventory. And so we get into a lot of conversations about self-awareness and feelings, and, in families, and our families have grown up together. Basically, my kids have probably played with him more than he's the second adult outside of our family unit that has spent the most time.
Like he's the adult that like instantly hops in with
Absolutely.
the kids.
Taught him dock tag, night games. I mean, hours and hours and hours and hours. Yeah. And I was having this conversation about the self-awareness journey with him. And he said something to me that kind of set me back a bit. And I'll tell you what he said in just a minute. But then what was odd is then this week you said something along the same lines. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This is really interesting. So I was just saying to him, as he was talking about one of the issues that he was sort of processing in his life, I said, you have to trust your feelings because your feelings are never wrong. And he said, I will tell you that is not true for me. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, I have learned that I cannot trust my first feeling most of the time, because if I did, I would go right down a rabbit hole that would not be helpful. It would make me lose my temper. It would make me say bad things to people. It would make me not be my best self. And so I have to be very careful about what feelings I respond to and which ones I don't. And I was fascinated by that. And for a minute, it set me back like, wow, well, so how is that? How can that be? Like, so anyway, I thought that was a really interesting thing. He said, I can't. When I said you can trust all of your feelings, he said, I can't.
So earlier this week, we were talking about potential podcast ideas.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, what about the idea that like you can't trust your feelings, or that your feelings are lying to you? Yes, that's what you said. And you were like, whoa, no, we can't say your feelings are lying to you, because the whole self-awareness journey is about preaching about how we should trust our feelings. Preaching is a little stiff.
Yeah.
But no, you were pushing back. You said, no, JJ, we can't talk about how our feelings are lying to us. Like that's against what we're trying to do. And I was saying, I don't think so. I think it is in alignment with what we're trying to do, because I do think that a lot of the times maybe I was being a little dramatic or overstating it, right? But I do think a lot of times that our feelings, especially our initial feelings about something, are maybe a better term would be misleading.
Yeah. Well,
or we're misinterpreting them initially. And so we think about it a little bit.
Well, so I have been thinking about this as well since the conversation with my friend and now this. And here's what I think is there's a huge differentiator. when we have a instant flash of what we might say is feeling, I'm going to change the word to reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I think a reaction, an emotional reaction, is not always the same thing as our true feeling about something.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I think our initial knee-jerk feelings are actually not always truth, because they're just responses. They're emotional responses to a crisis or to a moment or to something that it's like a flash.
Yeah. Okay. So let me walk you down a scenario.
Okay.
And we're gonna pick apart this scenario to try to get to the essence of what you're talking about.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Let's see. I didn't really prepare a perfect scenario, so I'm going to wing it. So you have to bear with me. Okay. Like, I'm a busy guy, right?
Yes, I know.
I've got different companies I'm running. I'm always in stuff. I'm really pretty busy. Okay. And I'd say that I also make the bulk of the money for our family.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
And, you know, we have kids. It's a little chaotic at home, but sometimes a lot of the times the dishes are just piled up everywhere in our kitchen. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
And I've been working like my butt off all day since like 6 a.m. And now it's 6 p.m. There's like no dinner plan. There's a billion dishes on everywhere. And now I have to figure it out. Right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I'm a little, like, peeved at that. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, well, like, where's Amber? Why did she not take care of these dishes all day? Like, what is she doing? She's probably not even doing anything. She has a part-time job. Like, why is this not? Why are the kids not have taken care of some of this? Why don't we have a dinner plan? Why am I the only one that's working so hard around here? Like, why is everyone in my family like lazy and against me, and I have to do literally everything here? This is so frustrating. Everyone else is like irritating to me. And now now I think my wife's lazy. Now the kids are horrible, and I've just turned the dishes aren't done scenario into I'm awesome, everyone else is like lazy. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but is that true? Like that, while that feeling is real for me, that the analysis of what's actually happening in my house is not true. My wife is not lazy. The kids are not horrible. Like, none of that is actually true. I just completely manufactured it based on my like you said, reaction to this scenario. So that's where I was saying, like, can my own feelings be trusted? Because I was vilifying everyone in my family very quickly based on how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Melissa and I are huge self-awareness nerds. We've been working on this stuff for a really long time, and we love talking about it and sharing it with all of you. We've actually brought all of the stuff we've made into an online course, and we think it's really great. The course starts by learning about yourself and how your mind-body connection works. It dives into your thoughts and feelings, and then helps you learn how to become your true, authentic self. Start your journey today. Head to theselfawarenessjourney.com to learn more and sign up.
So do you want me to tell you what I think?
Yep.
Nope. Don't do it. Don't do it, Melissa. Change the subject. Okay. So in that scenario, that's such a perfect example, because I think we all have that. But that example is also based on some truth. Sometimes you feel...
You don't watch it. You're going to get me in trouble with my wife for using this example.
I know. I'm going to get a text.
She doesn't listen to the podcast anyway. It's fine.
She's like our best listeners. She's our best. She and Mitch are our two greatest, bestest fans ever. No, but what I was going to say is, so your idea of how the kitchen should be kept, that's your idea. It always has been.
Right.
You've
Yeah.
always been like that. So
Yep.
that is actually just a core belief that you have. That's a core belief that you have. Like, there shouldn't be dishes in the kitchen. It's a silly, it's not silly, but it's a small, I'll use the word small instead. It's a small example of something that has got meaning for you, right? So then you get triggered. So like, remember how we talked in a podcast once a long time ago, that word halt, to check, to do your own inventory? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired.
Yeah.
When we have one of those emotions, then we go topsy-turvy with our responses to things, right? So like, if you just look at that scenario, you were tired and you were hungry.
Yep.
And you started to feel angry. So you're in full trigger mode. And so the reaction that you had was not your true feelings about your children and your wife.
Yeah.
It was an in the moment reaction. And we do that all the time. I mean, that's just common human responses.
So, okay, that's a good analysis.
Yeah. Well,
that just like,
but it doesn't feel like it's very satisfying.
No, it doesn't. Like, I still don't want to. I don't want to. I mean, part of the self-awareness journey is, like you're saying, like, let's try to recognize when we're getting into those states, right?
Yep.
And that's a great pursuit, right? And we're doing it all the time. And we're getting ourselves into these like states where we're not actually seeing the people around us clearly.
Right. Because we're triggered. We're in a highly triggered state.
Because we're triggered. Yeah. And like, doing that over and over. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And not seeing people in the right way, being in these trigger states. Just think about how much that can compound and then just like
it
ruin
fractures
relationships.
People. It does. It fractures people because here's the thing. We all have high degrees of emotions about things. Like such stupid things. Like this morning, I went downstairs and we have a big double door refrigerator, and on the sides of the fridge are the little slots that are big enough slots to hold like milk jugs and coffee jugs. And I have, this is so stupid, but it's so true. I have one side that I favor, right? And on that side, I have my almond milk and then I have my cold pressed coffee right there. And I went down there this morning and my cold pressed coffee was gone. And in its place was a big jug of water. Oh. And I was like,
terrible.
And we have a Culligan water system, right? So we don't actually need to have jugs of cold water because we have cold water in a jug with a dispenser anytime we want.
Well, what kind of psychopaths do you live with?
And I was like, what the hell is this? Why is this water here? And Mitch was like, really? But you know what it was is I had an idea of how something should be.
Yep.
I had an idea and then I was in a hurry and I had 10 things on my mind and then I flung the door open and this wasn't what I was expecting. And it just kind of threw me off for a minute. Yeah. It just threw me off for a minute. And the communication piece is really key because had I pitched a little fit like I did, if Mitch wanted to auger in, he could have been like, what is your problem?
Right. Why are you being so particular? You're so why are you trying to be so controlling?
Yes.
Like, really? Now you have to. Now you're telling me where I can put my water in the refrigerator.
I know. It's so silly. It is, but it's absolutely true. It's just we get in our little spaces, our head spaces. That's what it is. It's that head space, right? And we all have certain ideas about things, and then it's just really hard to come out of those ideas because you don't even know that you have them. Yeah, they're just there. Yeah. They're just there. And then something triggers you, like you're tired or whatever. Like that whole, you're in a stage, your family is in a stage. And I just bring it up because I think there's a lot of listeners in the same stage that your kids are in, junior high and high school. And you guys both work and people have schedules and stuff and kid stuff and friends. And it is a very overwhelming time of life. And we're in the holiday season, there's so many. And then in your business, you have so many things going right now, right? It's like, there's so many competing priorities. And I think we get worn down by that. And then the simplest little thing like that, you cash your stamps in and you have a really strong reaction to.
Yeah. I just had this vision of like I was going to say, I put up our Christmas tree. Right. And then what I did, instead of putting ornaments on it, I hung expectations all over it.
And you know what? I got the visual. I got the visual of walking in your kitchen and all the plates. The way you described it, I was picturing the Dr. Seuss style, where all the plates
are definitely that. It's definitely
all the way to the ceiling, where they get more and more narrow and they're just real wonky.
Yeah. No, I think the kids take some sort of small pride in the way they balance dishes on top of each other. It is like, if you step back, it's kind of remarkable skill.
Oh, well, we're having a little fun with this, but I do think, honestly, like, when we come back to the focus of our conversation, it's like, are our feelings trusted? Can we trust our feelings? And what is the true difference between a feeling and a reaction or a response?
Well, those things get mixed up a lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, and what I wanted to do is talk about, just zoom it out a little bit. We're talking about very tactical.
Yeah.
Very everyday sort of simple things. But on a bigger level, I was actually even thinking about, can we trust our feelings? I'm trying to articulate this in the right way. I'm a little struggling a little bit. It's like the dishes and the everyday triggers are one thing.
Yeah.
But when you zoom out to really bigger topics, even your feeling of your basic needs being met, do you feel like you have enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like you're safe at home? Do you feel like you're safe at work? Do you feel like you have enough food? Do you feel like you have enough resources? Some more basic human instinct and need stuff.
Yeah.
Those feelings, I don't know, I just always don't feel like I don't have enough. Could that feeling also be a bit of a delusion, a little bit of a lie, right?
Yeah. You know what,
and so living in that state for years and years, what is that doing to you? And is that, if that is an untrue feeling, but you've been acting on it for the past, your whole life, maybe,
right?
What's that doing? Is that what you wanted to build for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good question. The first thing that comes up for me is, I listen to the Law of Attraction a lot. Abraham Hicks. It's something that I've gotten a great amount of joy out of listening to, and their perspective on this exact topic is one that's really appropriate for right in this moment. They talk about how when we have a feeling about something, to check and see if the feeling feels good or not. In terms of what you do for your future action in this moment, the decisions that you're making, when you make those decisions, is the feeling right? If the feeling doesn't feel good, the question is your mind involved too much? Is your mind trying to control a scenario or give you a narrative because your mind likes to be in control? Our brain tries to tell us everything and tells us who we are, what we are, whose we are, all of these things. Our brain tries to inform us, but our true feelings, those deep feelings, to me, and I'm maybe not articulating this well in terms of the exact way you asked the question, but when a feeling is inside and it doesn't necessarily feel good. When we have a reaction to something that isn't favorable, it's usually because our inner being or our deep feeling knows the truth, knows what's what, but it's not matching what we're either experiencing or how we're participating outwardly.
Yep. Okay. I think I got it. Back to the dishes.
Yeah.
Here's the thing is, like, when I saw the dishes, I probably knew that I should just do the dishes, right? The right thing to do would be to just do the dishes.
Because you would feel good having them done.
Because I would feel good having them done. Because like doing that, that's for me.
Yeah.
Right? But then my brain got involved and started, I'd say, almost manufacturing emotion for me.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. That's a good word, manufacturing.
It's interesting because like we talk about like trust your feelings, right? And what you're saying is like, no, that's like, it's deep. You really got to like get in there. And at the core, it's simple, right?
It's so simple.
But then once our brain starts going, it starts like, oh, nope, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling like I want to like act out. I want to blame other people. I want to do all of this stuff. So it starts manufacturing these emotions, right?
Yep. That's exactly right. Right. How you were able to pull out what I was trying to say out of that mess of a bunch of words I just said. Well done.
So it's like, it's almost like, as soon as we like, once we go against like that first core feeling, once we go opposite of it,
right,
then our brains manufacture exactly why we should have done that.
Yep.
And that usually just vilifies other people. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. When really all I wanted to do was have a clean kitchen, and I should have just cleaned the kitchen myself, and it was no big deal anyway. Right.
Yeah. You know, and then just with the law of attraction, how they would finish this part of the conversation is they would say, you can tell when you're getting off because it becomes more and more specific. And you were doing that in your descriptions absolutely perfectly in alignment with that.
Oh, yeah.
So you came in, you had a feeling.
Yep.
And then the feeling went off sideways. And then you became more and more specific. My wife is this. My children are this. I always do this. And it became more and more specific. And so what Abraham Hicks offers is to go more general. So when you have an instant feeling like that is because you're not going to feel good. There's nothing that you're going to do in that moment that's going to make you feel like a rock star because you're just not in a good spot. So what you can do though is work for getting yourself to feeling neutral, like not as triggered, right? Bringing it back to something more general, bringing it back to, it's not always like this. Is it always like that? No, it's not always like that.
Yeah.
Is every dish in the house on the counter? No, it's not. Right? I mean, so like kind of like go general.
Felt like it.
The Dr. Seuss dishes piled up.
All right. Well, this is a fun conversation. I think this is like, again, one of those times where I feel like people can, like our listeners can really like think about times in their day-to-day life where their thoughts get into this like derailed state.
Yeah. And
and it happens. Yeah. All the time. It happens at work, right?
Yeah.
Like over and over. It's like, well, Melissa was supposed to have the report and then she didn't get the report done on time. And then, it just all unravels so quickly.
Yeah. Right. And then the brain just loves to add on to it and all the other reasons why you should feel off and feel bad.
Yep. So recognizing when we're going down that path and trying to hop off as soon as possible.
Yeah. And it's okay to have a little humor about it. I mean, thankfully you and I both have a good sense of humor and we'll enter into this stuff, the water jug. Good Lord.
All right. Cool. I am going to go do the dishes. So when I get home tonight, they will be a clean counter and just how I like it.
And I'm going to go reorganize the refrigerator.
Did you enjoy this episode? please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.